Good morning, guys. I'm here at the library. I didn't know my face was going to be on, actually. I'm going to turn this around and have Gary say hi to you. I'm getting ready to interview him, okay? Here he is. Is it looking at you?
Hello, this is Gary from Michigan.
All right, there's Gary from Michigan. So today we're going to talk about current events, of course, and I was asking him, he said he likes to watch what Trump's doing. So I think he's one of our, I think he's a man on our side here, it sounds like. What do you think of the shutdown?
Well, I'm for it.
Yeah.
Because we can't let Pelosi dictate any more than she is.
No, exactly. I mean, and you know, I think, how do you feel about those workers that aren't being paid? I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, which workers are you talking about?
I don't know. It's the ones in the mainstream media, the federal workers that are not being paid that the mainstream media keeps talking about.
Well, I thought they were all going to be paid sooner or later.
Yeah, well, they will for sure.
Yeah.
That's another thing that they don't bother to report.
Right.
Like they're going to get their money stolen and they're never going to have it.
Yeah, no, they'll get paid. You know, but they'll big, you know, a lump sum, but that's all right.
Yeah.
If they can survive.
I know. I think that's the thing maybe that they're capitalizing on is acting like people can't survive in the meantime. Mm-hmm. I talked to a mailman and he's getting paid. And then I talked to another guy that was a government worker. He did medical. He said he wasn't getting paid, but he said we all make sacrifices, you know. So
exactly.
He was on board with the shutdown even though he's not getting paid. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, I think that, you know, I actually read from a reliable source that Trump already figured in the funding for the border wall into the military budget for 2019. So he's got military engineers that are going to build that wall, and nobody has any choice.
Good for him.
Right. So,
you know, he's not a real politician, but he's a businessman.
He's a smart businessman.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
he can't become a billionaire.
Right. You know how to make deals. You know how to read people. You know how to build, obviously. Yeah, I mean, he knows all the ins and outs of all kinds of things, and you know the media laughs at him when he says he's an expert at this and that, but you know what, he really is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. So the border wall is going to be funded either way, and so this shutdown is actually about other things. There's actually other things going on besides behind the scenes where the establishment government is getting in a big way, they're arresting a lot of establishment government members, including Hillary Clinton.
About time.
Nancy Pelosi's going to be arrested. I don't know if she already has. There's going to be, you know, Bill Clinton, of course. Possibly Chelsea, I don't know. Possibly Mike Pence. Mike Pence is actually a pedophile. Yeah.
He is?
Yeah.
I thought
I liked him too. He's the thing about him where I liked him was that he's a Christian man.
Yeah. And
so that was my big thing on Mike Pence. I thought, well, good, Trump has a Christian man running with him, you know.
Where did you read that?
I've read it actually from multiple sources. There's I don't have I couldn't find them for you right away, but if you want to give me your email, I could gather some things and send it to you. You know.
Sure.
There's actually, have you heard of the Illuminati?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a big, you know, satanic cult, basically.
Right.
And so I don't know if Pence is actually a part of the Illuminati or not, but that's something that Hillary has a big, big part in. And and the Illuminati actually, part of their ritual is sacrificing babies, human babies. And so the Clinton, this is all stuff that I have sources for. Are you on Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe you could follow me on Twitter, and then that way I can hook you up with, you know, you can hook up with some people that have. But have you heard of the Q conspiracy?
No.
The Q conspiracy is an anonymous poster that started posting on a thing called 8chan last October 2017. And what it is this poster puts a question out there, and he asks questions, and he basically kind of says, what happened to JFK Jr.? You know, what happened on 9/11? What really happened on such and such? Do you think that it was terrorists? Research for yourself. And that's what this guy does. Okay. So all of a sudden, on 8chan, there's a bunch of, quote, conspiracy theorists that have been sitting there talking about all these conspiracy theories. You know, 9/11 was a government setup. JFK Jr. was killed by the government. You know, JFK was killed by government, and we know that. And but they've been talking about these things, and meanwhile the moderators, who are government, you can tell government controlled, will come in there and act like this is just a fake story.
Right.
But what happened was these conspiracy theorists saw this Q poster, and they just went wild, because finally the things that they've been talking about and been wondering about for many, many, many years, it looks like maybe there's going to be some light. So they look at this, so they start, excuse me, they start following Q, and they get together and they start posting answers on this board, and they communicate back and forth with Q. His name is Q. I mean, he goes by Q, the letter Q, and then he'll respond in his next thing to if one of the posters say, JFK Jr. found the bomb on his plane and his plane didn't really go down, or whatever it might be. If it's correct, he'll repost that, and then he'll ask another question. So I'll show you actually the website if you want to poke around on it. It's called qmap.pub, but they actually set up this website where they have all the different, they call them Q drops. So every time he posts, they put it on there. Then they have all of the players, which is like Nancy Pelosi, Vladimir Putin, all kinds of people. And to make a long story short, Q is Donald Trump, and it's been proven. Yeah.
Oh, great.
And so the things that Donald Trump posts on Twitter, when he posts something that's like a misspelled word, the QAnons, which are the people that follow Q, look at that word and they say, I don't know how they do it exactly, but they'll say, well, there's a letter E missing here, and there should have been a letter, if he spells there T-H-E-R-E instead of T-H-E-I-R. They'll take the I and the E and, however they do it, and then they use a formula where A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, D equals 4, and so on. And they'll put these numbers together and decode the information. And so while everyone's making fun of Trump for being stupid and not knowing his grammar and spelling, what he's doing is communicating to the QAnons, over 125 million Americans that know what's going on.
What do you think about him using the
Twitter?
All the time.
I love it.
Why do you?
Yeah, I mean, and because he's communicating more than any other president. He's very authentic. He's not like a politician, like you said.
Yeah.
And he had a Twitter following. Like I was looking, kind of scrolled back one day, and he had this big, huge Twitter following long before. I mean, like Elon Musk, he's a billionaire or whatever he is,
right.
And he's got a huge following. These people are watching the billionaires.
Yeah.
That's how he won the election. He's amazing. But I particularly like it now that he's doing the he's doing the goofy stuff like that, because I just love to watch all these people make fun of him, and then I can't wait until turn around and say, whoa, this man's brilliant.
Do you think they'll ever try to get Donald Trump Jr.? He was. Remember they had him? Didn't they subpoena him?
I don't know about that. I know something did happen, but I haven't looked into it.
No,
like he's in trouble for something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what it was?
Something about
the business?
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that either he purposely did something to get a minor charge to stir up some, because Trump will also deflect and he'll do different things. Like, I mean, the Stormy Daniels things was actually a pretty good distraction, because I think it was real, but it could, I mean, at times I've wondered if Stormy and Trump are even working together just to create a distraction so that other things can be. Yeah, I mean, and it's like, and then all the Christians go, oh, I mean, I think they kind of ended up supporting him. Excuse me. Through it, because everybody makes mistakes, or whatever, and billionaires' wives pretty much know when they marry him that they're not going to be a faithful man. It's kind of part of the deal. You get all the nice stuff you want, but you don't get to keep your husband for yourself. But yeah. So let me ask you another question. Did you serve in the military?
No, never.
No? Well, one of the things that has also come up through Q that we've been studying is that there are underground tunnels that run all over the world. And so, like, the Denver airport is actually 8 stories deep. What they did is, when they were building it, they built this 8-story building, and then they said, oh, we did it wrong, so we're going to bury it. But they actually buried the huge, it's a huge compound. And there was a man, this one I know pretty much right where to find it, but there was a man named Phil Schneider who worked at the Denver airport and worked underground, and he was a whistleblower. He started telling people what's going on underground. You want to hear what it is? No?
Oh, yes.
You do?
Definitely.
They have aliens that live underground that have been on this earth for 100 years or more. The aliens made a deal with the establishment government that they're allowed to abduct a certain number of humans every year to do genetic testing on.
Mm-hmm.
And the aliens live off of glandular secretions from human beings. It's some kind of something that comes out of your glands. Yeah. Can you believe that?
No.
And so they're down there, and this guy, Phil, he talked to them. He actually got, I think he had a finger cut off or something like that from a fight with one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up in an underground battle where like 30 Americans died, and 30 humans died, and then the aliens kind of won, but he didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
He just got hurt. But, so they have humans that they keep in cages down there like animals. They keep them naked in a cage, and they do testing on them. And some of the humans that they have, they just keep for reproduction. And those humans have those babies that they kill every day. They kill one baby every day. This is Dick. Thank you. Dick, I can't remember his name now.
Gary.
Gary, this is Gary.
I didn't get.
So, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, so they traffic humans around under there. And they, that's mainly what they do is traffic humans.
Yeah.
But so the Illuminati, the ones that eat the flesh and drink the blood, they actually thrive off of adrenochrome, and that I don't know if you've heard of that. That's another. It's something that's derived from the blood of humans. And then there's the pineal gland in your brain.
Right.
You know what that is,
Yeah.
right? Well, while the government works to shut down our pineal glands with beer and coffee, that can calcify your pineal gland. So you're kind of like your epicenter for thought and function and everything is in that pineal gland. And so when they're dumbing us down by calcifying our pineal glands and feeding us mainstream media that doesn't tell us anything near the truth, they're underground eating people's pineal glands so that they can be, whatever, smarter or more enlightened or whatever. I mean, it probably works. What is it? It's almost time for the library to open. Well, I asked Gary a lot of questions, but I also talked to him about a lot of things, too, and he doesn't seem like he's scared. Are you scared, Gary?
No.
Do you think Donald Trump has it under control? And the American people have it under control?
I think so.
I think so, too.
I do.
I do. I think we're going to be seeing some really cool changes. I'm glad I got to talk to you today.
Yep.
And maybe I'll talk to you again soon.
Don't you think he'll get reelected?
I don't know. I don't think he'll probably run. I kind of am wondering and hoping that...
I mean the next term.
Yeah, the next term, I'm hoping that JFK Jr. will run. That's what I'm hoping.
Really?
So we'll see if I get that wish.